Well, here we are. It's Friday, June 10th, 2022, and this is our weekly video. We take a look and see what's been going on in the Asian art auction market in the last week. There's been a lot going on. As many of you know, we did the video this week for the Chinese sale that took place in Hong Kong at Christie's. It had its ups and downs, and we went into that a little bit about what's happening in the market and where things stand right now, and a little bit of an explanation on why prices are the way they are with certain lots. Right now it is a period of flux and so forth. And also this morning we uploaded the latest new video for the global pages, global member pages here. There's a bunch of them up here now. We're accumulating them, and these are for the people that subscribe to the site, and you know, the subscriptions that we get pay for the site, so they're very much appreciated, and it helps us cover the cost of all the man hours that it takes to do this each week with the different sites, the uploads, the labor to gather the information, the costs that we have to cover here. So thank you very much for subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. We can always use the support. It's nice to have. All right, now it lets us do more and more. We keep trying to add things as time goes on. We keep adding new things because it's important, I think, if you're interested in collecting. What I want to talk about first this week are some of the results from the things that we had covered on the global pages. You can, if you're a subscriber, you'll be familiar with a lot of the images, and if you're not a subscriber, we're going to show you some things and what's going on elsewhere that you might find interesting. Okay, the first thing I wanted to talk about was the sale in Paris that finished up this last week. This is the second sale in a couple of weeks in Paris. They've had some good auctions over there. We had the Agut sale last week, and this week it was Art Curial. It's a good old auction house. They have regular sales. They sell some very, very good things, and they do more than just Chinese art. They handle wines, as you can see. They have a very extensive schedule of upcoming sales. They do a lot of work with photography, all kinds of good stuff. And the prices they got were interesting. Some of them were bargains, and some of them were very strong. So again, the market right now is uneven. It's hard to figure out what is going on. One of the things that sold was this. This was maybe one of the nicest early Qing bronzes I've ever seen, or certainly seen this year. It was a superb reticulated example, beautifully done with chimeras on the side climbing up over it, and these sort of quasi-archaistic relief work throughout the bronze, all over it with bambooed legs. This was a beautiful piece. It was about 10 or 11 inches in diameter, superb quality. Had everything. It had everything. It had a very modest estimate. I had gotten a couple of inquiries about it, and it had an estimate of $8,000 to $12,000. Ended up selling, or 8,000 to 12,000 pounds. Ended up selling for $42,000. But it was a superb piece. And I don't think it was too much money. I told one fellow that was interested in it, he was wondering if he could get through the identification assistant service. He asked me if he thought he could buy it maybe for 20,000. I said no. I said you'll be 20,000 euros. I said you'll be lucky to get it for under 40. And as it turns out, it went for 42,000 plus the premium. It took off. Quite a thing, but something down the road, someone's going to be very glad they bought it. That's all I can say. And then on to these. I thought these were relative bargains. They're late 19th century Qinlong marked, but they're not. They're late Qing, but extremely rare. Extremely rare. One of them had been repaired. I couldn't see where. One of them was perfect. One of them was repaired according to the description. But these were amazing quality, with underglaze red and underglaze blue. And it worked beautifully. Just absolutely elegant with these garlic head tops on them. Beautiful pair of bases, just absolutely spectacular. And they went reasonably. I think these were like there's a few things that were relative bargains, and I think these were absolutely relative bargains. They sold for 1,100 euros plus the buyer's premium, or it comes out to around 1,400 euros, 1,300 euros for both of them, with one of them being perfect. And I think that was under the money. I think if these had brought 3,000, I would have said, yeah. Look at the color. Look at the color. And if you go to find a similar example, you're going to have a hard time finding it, because I tried to, and I thought they were just elegant and wonderful. Goodness. And then these were, I suspect, the biggest bargain of that sale. These are big pair, and we've seen these before. This style of cloisonne was very, very popular. Beautiful coloring, and these fabulously cast chimeras on the shoulders, and then the beautiful cloisonne work with gilding all the way down. We've seen single vases of these sizes sell for $15,000, $12,000, $10,000, and that kind of price pretty regularly. These were 25 inches tall, and the pair of them, sold for 5,500 euros plus the premium, which I think was about a third of their value. I think this was, and I don't know why. There wasn't any damage to them that I could see. Beautiful color and very consistent with all the other ones. They were done during the early 19th century, probably during the Daoguan period, but absolutely just great. These were really good, and it's a pair, and somebody picked them up for 5,000 euros, 5,500 euros plus premium. So I think that was a really good buy. All right, and if you missed it, I'm sorry. And then this was also a very good buy. It was a Wanli crack type vase. We've seen them before, these pear-shaped vases, and they nearly always sell for somewhere between 12 or 1,400 up to $2,500. And this one didn't have any damage to it. They were pretty good on their descriptions and providing information. These sold for 700 euros plus premium. So somebody got a very good buy on that. Somebody got a great buy. And then this was woefully underestimated. It's a carved Dwanstone, and I don't know how much you know about Dwanstones, but Dwanstones are volcanic rock, and when the rock settles, it has different layers with different colors in it, and a good carver will take a piece of this, and you see the red background up here. Okay, and then these other colors are on top of it, layered in. So what they'll do is they'll try to figure out what color the layers are, and then carve through them and do it sort of intaglio, like a cameo, and develop this landscape relief work out of it. And this was a very good one, and it had an extremely low estimate, 5 to 7,000 or something like that. Let it load up here. 4,000 to 6,000 euros, crazy low price, and everybody absolutely loved this. The carving quality was excellent. Dwanstones can be sort of complicated like this one, and they can be very simple. And if they're done simply, then they must be done very elegantly, and then they can also bring very large amounts of money. This one was particularly good. And much better than the estimate, and ended up selling for 27,000 euros plus the buyer's premium. So you're up around $33,000. So it sold for about 6 times the estimate. But it's one of the nicest one. I've owned Dwanstones. I like them a great deal, and this is one of the nicest ones I've seen in a few years, even better than what we've seen at some of the major sales. All right, and then on to this, a pair of Wanli Kendi. And typically, we've seen these sell before. Rob Michaels gets them. A lot of people get them, and they generally turn out bringing somewhere in the $1,400 to $2,000 range, or 1,300 to 1,700 euros, somewhere in there. And these went well under the radar, selling for, watch this, I think it was $1,600 for the pair. Somebody got both of them, got them for $800 a piece, instead of paying somewhere in the vicinity of $1,600 a piece. So it was more or less a buy one, get one free arrangement, I guess. I don't know how else to put it. But that was a good buy. Somebody that buys those could pretty easily turn around and sell one of them and get back either all or 90% of the money they paid, and then keep the other item for their collection. And that's the way to buy, by the way. You, whenever you can, buy a lot with several things in it, pluck out the thing you want, and sell the rest. All right, and I just threw this in here for the fun of it. This was as you know, a lot of you recognize this is a very rare type of Yuan Dynasty jar. This is a complete fake. It was sold just today down in Georgia. I never keep track of who is. This is Lauren Gallery, our friends at Lauren. It's a total fake. The bottom of it is wrong. The decoration is decently done, but not doesn't have the characteristics you expect to see on one of these. The mask handle isn't done very correctly, and so forth. And as you all know, if this were authentic, it would bring, I don't know, around $1 million, $2 million. They can bring vast sums of money. This one sold for a whopping $800. And again, nobody. The state of Georgia doesn't seem to care that these folks just constantly are selling things by misrepresenting them. Chinese 12th century Yuan Dynasty white porcelain jar. It's just blatant fraud. I hope someday somebody is willing to take some legal action. That's all I'm going to say. It's just ridiculous. Okay, and back over here, this was another sale that took place. This was at Allers and Ogletree. They're down in Atlanta, Georgia. They are not tied to Lauren and those other galleries that are so problematic. This is a legitimate auction house. They sell decent things. They handle local estates, and they had this 18th century tureen in the sale, and this was a heck of a nice tureen, beautifully done, really beautifully done. Fabulous handles all over it, a little fritting around the edges. They did a good job with the photography. You can tell there's lots of legitimate wear on that handle. This thing had been used. There's the bottom of it. There's a nick out, a chip out of the side, but it's not in the decorated area. So this is a real easy fix for somebody that's got a restorer. You know, $150 they can fix that. Here's the sides of it. The gilding was all in good shape. And it went for just $350. You know, the old line, I say it a lot, is leave a bid. And this thing was 10.5 inches in diameter. It was a really choice little example. And should have brought $700 or $800. Should have brought that, but it just didn't, for whatever reasons. This is why you go through and carpet bomb with bids. Just leave bids. Just leave bids, crazy low bids. You know, figure out roughly what the thing is worth. Leave a bid for half the amount and see if you don't get lucky on it. All righty. And then on to this. This was the Madison Square Gallery in New York had the sale. We had featured the rank badges. They had a lot of good silk in their sale, and we had shown them in the on the global pages for several weeks, maybe 3 weeks before the sale, because I just thought they were all so terrific. We talked about them, and they did well in the end. This one, they're accurately estimated and dated. Ming Dynasty dragon with the rabbit. Very nice example. Good colors, good strong colors. Still, look at this. No fading in the red, and it has got that Ming red. There was a red that was very popular in the Ming Dynasty, and it's the same red tone you see on their cloisonne. It was this deep red, and that's the color. And here it is, and this thing did just fine. It brought $5,500 plus the buyer's premium. All right, and then over to this was a Jiajing period rank badge. I like this better than the rondelle, and it actually brought a little less money, $4,500. I think the edges had been trimmed on it a bit, perhaps, and that may have kept some people away from it. But when you look at the strength of the colors for a late 16th, early 17th century badge, it's like they'd never seen the light of day. All the colors are still strong and vibrant. And the most susceptible colors to light is this red and that yellowish tone. The blues tend to remain pretty impervious to sunlight. You look at old Chinese rugs, and you look at the backs of them, and you see all these different colors, maybe 5 or 6 different colors on the rug. And you look at the front, all you see is the blue, because the Chinese yellows and other colors that they used in their carpets tended to fade. Same thing with silk and other textiles. They were very susceptible for fading, except for the cobalt. Cobalt doesn't fade. And this one was beautiful, and it brought $4,500. And then moving along over to this was another one with a kirin on it, and this one brought $4,500. nice colors again. There's that good strong red you're seeing here and here and here. And I love the bushy tail on them. Great facial expression, late Ming, great thing. And ended up doing fine, about 4,500. And again, I think this one might have been trimmed back a little bit. All right, and then another great, if you're a Turkoman buyer, I don't know, I left a bid on this just to keep an eye on it. It was nowhere near what it was worth. But if you're a Turkoman buyer, this was the buy of the month, of the year. A really good Asmalik. These were camel trappings that were used in Central Asia, and this one was in beautiful condition, late 19th century, good color, still had its original tassels all the way around. Rather complicated example with this rare secondary border type. Just a good piece. It should have brought $1,500 to $2,000 at least. Sold for $375, a bargain. All right, and then other things that sold. For those of you that are in the UK, you could, if you're using the global pages, the Hannum's auction. Right, they're in Selborne, right, in the UK. Sold this most likely Kangxi. They said Kangxi to Yongchen period. I think it's probably Kangxi. Jar, a good one, 15 centimeters tall, about 6 inches tall, and went for $1,375, which is perfectly reasonable for this. This was a nice jar, and it had a much later 20th century stand and lid. But good color, nicely drawn, and I wish did they show the phoenix on this? No, they didn't. They didn't show the phoenix. I'm really surprised. The phoenix is over here flying around the jar. Anyway, I like seeing the phoenixes, like the birds. And this one sold yesterday for $1,375. It was a nice example. And then on to this. This was another good thing. This was at Dan Morphy's sale in Denver, Pennsylvania. He had a bunch of things that were on the global pages, and one of them was this really good silver bowl. A beautiful example with this darkened groundwork. We talked about it before. It needs a polishing. This thing has been taken very good care of, I'm afraid. But a very, very nice example. Hallmarked on the bottom, the side there. Nicely done. And of course, if you get some silver like this and you're looking online and you want to know, go over to the reference section on Bidamount and pull up that the book on silver, on Chinese silver. He's got it covered, and it's a really useful reference for who made what and where they worked. All right, but for $275, that was for nothing. It should have brought probably. We've seen that type of bowl before, and they sell for usually in the $650 to $1,000 range. And then on to this, a nice. They have this as Qinlong. I don't think this is Qinlong. I think it's probably Kangxi or Yongchen. But anyway, a nice teapot, beautiful, beautiful export teapot, and looks to be in rather good shape all the way around. And ended up, who was selling this? This was Hannum's over in the UK again, 220 pounds or $275. Again, a very reasonable buy for a fine pot that has no damage, that it didn't have any apparent damage. And then lastly, we're going to talk from the global pages, we're going to talk about these. There were two of these lacquer boxes that were in the sale at Swarter's in Essex in the UK. And these are very nice, late 18th, early 19th century, right in that 1790 to 1810, 1820 period. This beautifully done sort of zigzag lacquer decorated game box. It had a little bit of a smile over here on the right side from warpage, as you can see. Usually, if you have something like that, by the way, and you want to straighten it out, sometimes you can do it during warmer and more humid weather when there's moisture in the air. If you put a little something, rest a book on top of this, and just leave it for a few weeks or a month, it'll straighten itself out most of the time, and that crack will just disappear. But this was a wonderful example. A really nice style, and they showed some very good pictures of the interior. They showed some little nicks on the corners, which happens with these when the insert boxes are taken in and out. I don't know why they're obsessed about those corners, but they did. Anyway, there's the interior. Absolutely beautiful work. Absolutely beautiful with this tray. with the butterflies on it. Very classic. You see examples just like this over at the Peabody Essex Museum in Salem, Mass. Somebody picked this up for 50 pounds. 50 pounds. Probably was it 2 bids? Somebody opened the bidding at 40. They got a bid for 46. How they got a bid for 46, I don't know. And then it sold for 50. So there you go, a bargain. And then this one is an older looking box, probably from the just a few years earlier. Another game box, a very good one, filled with the mother of pearl chips, plus the side trays. All right. And I think there's some playing cards or something else was in here. I forget what it was. And you're going to see wear and nick to these boxes. This was inevitable because these game boxes were actually used quite heavily. There it is. There are the cards. All right, decorated on the lacquer. Just beautifully done. Great looking thing. And somebody bought this one for $160 or 130 pounds. And again, way under the money. This is good China trade material. So there you go. So there's a lot going on the global pages. Thousands of things every week sell through there, so it's an interesting environment to have available, plus the report card and all the other stuff in the videos. All right, so enough of that. What happened over on eBay this past week? Well, there were a few things sold. One of them was this. This was the seller Digger's Studio. He's a local guy. He's here in Massachusetts and up in Chelmsford, which is about, 40 minutes from here, rather. He had this. This is a celadon and an unglazed biscuit figure of a seated guanyin on a lotus. This is a type that is based on Ming examples. This was not a Ming example. It was a Qing example, 19th century, but very nice quality. It had a separation crack here in the neck from the firing that wasn't damage, and here are the sides of it and so forth. And it looked good to me. It looked really nice. This was a good-looking example, and somebody picked it up for $699, which is fine for one of those. All right, but like I said, they did do them in the Ming Dynasty, the originals. And see if we get the page still. Oh yeah, this silk. Again, silk is still strong. Silk. It's like silk is running on a different part of the U.S. economy, I think sometimes, or the global economy. This was a nice example, 19th century. The red was still in good shape. There were, a nifty. The weavers put little facial expressions on the different people and so forth. I liked it a lot. They're smiling and talking. It's very animated. There's the back of it. Somebody did a good job putting a liner on there, and somebody bought this for $776. Nice thing though. Nice thing. And then on to this page will load. There we go. This was another steal, and I don't know why, but this is a very good early 18th century plate. Beautifully done, possibly Kangxi period, judging by the foot rim and the base of it. Sure looks Kangxi to me. But at any rate, it had some unusual coloring in it. You had this very interesting sort of light teal blue, which you don't see very often. And here's the iron red floral decorations and so forth. Very nicely done, beautifully done. And somebody bought this for just $41.39. Go figure that out. Unbelievable. I don't know how that even happened. I don't know how that happened. I saw this plate and we put it in the newsletter and we thought, that should bring $200 or $300. Somebody bought it for $41 because it's a rare pattern. This is a rare pattern and it's older than it looks. And then this was a nifty thing. I like this. I like Shawan pottery. I think it's very folky, very innovative, clever stuff. They've got a long history of making interesting things. And this was a nice one, beautifully detailed, late 19th, early 20th century from what I can see. Let's take a look at the bottom. Yeah, late 19th, early 20th century. It was about 6 or so inches in size. Nicely done on the back all the way around, and went for $130. There you go. That was a great little buy. Nifty. And what's next? There we go. Oh, these were sold by Chamberlain Antiques Juice, seller Juice 1499. Joshua is a fellow I've known for many years. He gets good things. And he had these listed as 20th century. And I don't agree with him. I think these are early Meiji period. They were very, very pretty, beautifully done, with the mon on top. The interiors were in good shape. I didn't see a lot of damage to them. They looked quite good. The metal mounts were all there. Everything looked tight, because these things can get kind of sloppy after a while with these applied legs and expanding and contracting in the summer, and the heat and the heating systems and drying out and all that can be rough on these boxes. And these held up really well, and they were sold for $1,375, which is not a bad price. But I don't know why. Josh just seems a little conservative on his dating, I think. But they were 12 inches across, and he just said they were made during the first half of the 20th century. I think these were made in the last half of the 19th century, and I think that's why they brought that price. I thought they were very nice boxes. Very nice boxes. Beautiful. And this was the Amari dish that we talked about last week. I just thought this was a very nice example. Here's the back of it. It's a Meiji period, very finely done, beautiful borders. Unusual border on one of these. This is very unusual. Typically these Amari pieces don't have this. They just have a quick sort of indifferent swish, swish, swish of a little paint, and they're done. But given how well done the front of the plate was, lots of this is a very complicated pattern if you think about it, because it's underglazed blue and then overglazed enamel and then overglazed gilding on top of it, and this very strong blue red that they used. Here's another shot of it. Just an elegant piece, and it looked to be in perfect condition. This is the thing that I found interesting. With all this enamel, it wasn't scraped away anywhere to speak of. And sold for $294, which is, I think, a very well-deserved price, because this was a particularly nice piece of Amari. Particularly nice. This was sold by Migolari over in the UK. He gets good things. We cover his sales pretty often. And then over to this one. You got to wait a little bit for the page to load. I don't know, the internet's slow today. I don't know why. There we go. Oh, the Benkwangware Tatsa. This was unusual. This was a big one. Nicely done, late 19th century, beautiful enamels in good condition all the way around. Here's the underside of it. Another shot of the base of it, so forth. But the size of it was good. You see her holding it. There, the lady that was selling it. But nice, very festive colors, very bright, very joyous colors, which is good. And let's see here. Benkrong market, 19th century. What was this? This was 8 inches in diameter, 22 centimeters. So it was good size, and it brought a good price, $2,358, because it was bigger than most of these. Most of these tatsas that you see around are only 4, 5, 6 inches. This one was double that, and the price reflects it, $2,300. Quite unusual. And then this, the rose medallion, rose mandarin rather, I should say, 14-inch vase. The only thing wrong with this vase was it had a small chip out of the top. The rest of it was nicely done. The rest of it was very nicely done all the way up. And it, there's the little chip at the top. That was it. That was the only bit of damage to it. And it was probably made around 1850, and it brought $560, which is very reasonable. That was a reasonable price to pay for that. We've had those in the past. Sometimes they bring upwards of $1,000. And then there was this Wan Shu Ping vase. As you remember, one that was very similar to this one sold a few weeks ago for about $5,000. All right, and this was up and ended up selling for $1,225. And if you're wondering why, it was restored. It had restoration around the top in here. All right, it looks like it's got some old repairs in there and recolored, and something went on there, and it held the price back. And that shows you the power of repair. Anything being anything being off, it just kills That was 80% of the value is due to that interior reglazing and some paintwork that was done. Damage has a massive impact sometimes. All right, and then on to this. This was another jar. This was also sold by Josh. A nice-looking Kangxi jar with auspicious, precious objects on it. Very nicely done. Whoops, where did that go? Oh, we lost it. I don't know how I did that. Well, hold on a second. Let's get this jar back. Don't know why that closed. We can find it. Sorry about that, folks. There it is. Now stay on the screen this time. This one sold for $3,238. Kangxi porcelain remains very strong. Had a nice looking bottom on it. The foot rim looked good. That very dense white paste, very, very crisply edged, but with the glazed stops on it. And then had these wonderful precious objects on it, bronzes and auspicious symbols and so forth. Nice looking thing, and had a good looking later jar, late 19th century, lid. It had a finial or something on here at one point, and I suspect somebody took it off because it was probably a nice piece of jade, and they could sell it separately. I can tell you, they used to put some awfully good jades on top of lids back in the 1900 to 1920 when they were building lids, because those little jades weren't worth anything back then, even though today they're very collectible. And here's the front of the jar, nicely done, and $3,200. There you go. All right, good looking piece of porcelain. And then on to this, the Noyonia Straits, these Peranakan Straits porcelains were up by, this was Migolari, right? Yeah. He had a bunch of them. He had probably 15 or so lots, spoons, small bowls, plates, dishes, and all this. And he had several of these small hot food pots. And these were little. These were not like the traditional great big ones. This one was what? Just 6 inches, barely 6 inches in diameter. So a lot of them are up around the 9, 10, 11, 12 inch range. And this one was sort of a rare size. Ended up selling for $2,056. It was a 19th century example. It was very well done, good colors. And then they had these. These were also from Migolari, and more of these Peranakan dishes with the phoenix pattern. A very popular pattern, very well known pattern for these. These were 8.9 inches in diameter, and ended up selling for $1,053. All right, it's good to know the prices of these pieces, because these porcelains do turn up in the United States, and they often turn up with very low prices on them, because there was a sort of a stigma attached to these, that they were considered to be, before anybody really knew that they were made for the Straits market. People just thought they were just cheap export wares, sort of junk wares, and these pots like this would turn up around here in New England, I know, and dealers would sell them for $10, $20, $30, $40 because they assumed they were from the 1920s or 30s or 40s. They were late, and not of the quality or the style of decoration, I should say, that you expect to see on Chinese wares that were made for other markets. These were made for the Straits community, and this was the pattern that they liked. And there's a great deal of information out there on the things that they produced. They produced interesting, beautiful silks and textiles, very, very bright colors, very festive, very happy colors. And this was another one of these smaller pots. This was only 8 centimeters in diameter, so it's about 3 or 4 inches. This ended up selling for $1,178. And that's the kind of pot that years ago would sell for nothing. I mean, $10. And that's how much they would get for them. And then there were a couple of more of the Phoenix pieces. Here you have the Phoenix plate and a Phoenix bowl, and the two of them sold for $586. And the vase, the big vase. This was a nice vase. It did very well. It was, how big was it? It was 24 inches, 23 inches in height. There it is. Nice example. Very classic coloring. Very classic form. Late Qing. No, this is later. This is Republic, and but good colors. Good quality overall, very typical, and ended up selling for $1,705. And good-looking piece of pottery. All right, and there's bunch of things we have set aside to go on the newsletter page this week. So check it out if you haven't already. And if you haven't subscribed to the newsletter page yet, do that. Sign up for it when you get there. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything to join it. And like I've said at the beginning, if you want to support the channel and join the global member pages, to be honest, the more revenue it takes in, the more we can afford to do, because we have to pay people to do all the work that goes into this site every week, and it has to be done. So there we are. Alrighty, thanks for watching. Subscribe here if you haven't already. Have a great weekend. All right, summer is here. The gardens are blooming. It's very, very pretty. And this morning, the smell of the ocean. Yesterday morning, I should say, the smell of the ocean here was absolutely penetrating, coming through the walls. It was so strong that ozone off the ocean effect was just great to smell. It's rough on the cars, makes them all rot out early, but that's okay. Alrighty, thanks for watching, and see you all next week. We got a couple of videos we're working on. One of them on Chinese games that I think you'll find interesting. And we're going to talk about some arrow vases, which is a very interesting subject, and we're going to talk a bit about it. They are the oldest game in recorded history, and they were done with these things known as arrow vases, and it's really fascinating, and was done about over 2,000 years ago. It's fascinating. Okay, working on that and other things. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.